your characters going into the new season?
Well, for Eleanor, she definitely has to get a lot darker and a lot more kind of Machiavellian to deal with the fact that the whole structure of the island is kind of falling apart at this point. So for me, it was really exciting to find this really, really harsh, dark side to her. And I think you get a hint of that towards the end of season 1, that she's going to have to go that way. But as the scripts came through, I was kind of getting more and more amazed of how dark she actually does get. So, yeah.
For Flint, you get, I think at the end of the first season, he's quite enigmatic. You don't quite know what's driving him, why he's doing these things that he's doing. And then the second season goes back in time and explains where he comes from, what his motives are for what he's doing. And so that was fun. I got to play 2 sort of timelines, one from sort of like 15 years before and one in the present.
Well, alliances shift so quickly. So through the space of the season, there will be a series of shifts that you suddenly see, and there's so many kind of unexpected changes to the game plan. So I think all of the characters are having to kind of think on their feet, and from one moment to the next, you're not going to really know who's siding with who. And then obviously you always know that there's going to be a point where there isn't any. Loyalty in the island isn't really something that everybody lives by. It's really, each to their own, and back for survival. So
yeah, it's always very pragmatic. It's like, they're constantly troubleshooting as circumstances shift. They live in such a chaotic world that, constantly they're having to troubleshoot, forge new alliances, and pair up with people that they never expected to pair up with.
Yeah. Rather begrudgingly sometimes.
Do what it takes.
Yeah.
The original pirates were mercenaries from the Crown, but in this show they're enemies of the Crown. So can we expect maybe some spy from the Crowns or from a king?
Yeah, I mean, there's that. There's always a sense that the British are always just over the horizon. And the Spanish as well. They were in Spanish waters as well, and they were plundering Spanish. So they're constantly threatened by those two forces. And Nassau was invaded by the Spanish. They left, and then the British came, and then they kicked out the British, and they kind of made it an independent. But they're always being threatened by that. And so there is also an idea where people. There may be certain characters that are informers for the English Navy, whatever.
I mean, that's always an option for an enemy to try and wangle a pardon somehow by dobbing everyone else in. So there are moments of where that is a huge threat.
And that's also something that comes into the second series of the British are beginning to seriously think about dealing with the pirate situation. During the first season, it's too far away from them. It's too much. The finance required to send a flotilla of ships down there to deal with this. It's just too expensive. They've kind of let it run, but now it's beginning something that's really affecting the trade. So.
As an actor, do you incorporate your research into your character, or stay out and leave them to the producers to do that?
I think it's best to stick with what's on the page. I mean, it's good to know, a bit about the history of it, but really you can't play that. You can play what's on the page. It's really up to the writers and, the designers and everything like that to give it a texture of a real time in history. We can only just go and play the characters.
I mean, I think for me, what's really exciting is that it's kind of. John's such a hands-on showrunner, and we talk about the scripts, and I think that's a really unusual experience on a show, and I do a lot of reading just because I love doing it, and I'll talk to him and I'll be like, did you know about this? Did you know about that? And I think it kind of becomes a really lovely collaborative experience, and then when aspects of the story that come in that are sections of history that I didn't really know about, then I'll talk to him about it, and he'll pass me on the references, and so. in that way, like I feel like it's a constant learning curve in the show, and as we get further on into the story, like there's other aspects, other locations that we're starting to learn about. Starting to learn about colonial life in America, which is a completely different kind of section to what I'd learned about with regards to piracy in the Caribbean. So although it's all interrelated, it kind of develops and your knowledge becomes much more detailed.
I've had a lot of fun with Charles Hayden. As an actor, it's been like a treat to get to play that kind of role. I think I've been waiting to play a role like that pretty much my whole life, and I think it's kind of the kind of role that got me excited about acting in the first place when I was watching movies as a kid and that. So, to be honest, I have a lot of fun. Sometimes too much fun playing Charles Hayden. And they have to tell me to stop having so much fun.
I remember really early on you were saying that certain criminals or certain types of people will come to a place like New Providence and their job is to kind of swing their dick a bit. To go, I'm here, to be visible, to a bit of a pissing contest. And I think that our characters are definitely a couple of them. Some don't, but this show does focus on some pirates who want to, they've been at sea for a month, they get back, they need to go, I'm here, don't mess with us.
Yeah. Well, I think there's that wanting to be the best, wanting to be the most feared, most respected. I don't know. It's very fun, and also, I guess like the accent they're letting me work in and all that. It's just been a blast.
A lot of them, I'm sure. I really enjoyed the scene where we took over the brothel. It was a great moment for me because it's obviously not a place they want to be as pirates, running a small business. It's not cool and it's not rock star, but it was vital so they didn't actually starve to death. And I like that little transition, and especially with Clara and Zach being so pissed off about being landlocked, but my guy at least kind of as a sort of entrepreneur kind of going, come on.
Yeah,
look at this. It's beautiful. It's the shade. There's pretty women everywhere. It's not that bad, is it?
That was a fantastic scene. Yeah. Because that was getting to play the kind of hungover, beat up part of Charles Hayden when he's not doing just when he's
Because also when you get to an island, the captain, it's not really, it's kind of his downtime, it's his R&R.
It's really, because essentially that's the rest time. We've only really seen him in season 1 kind of at rest. He's not, because that's all, the captain is really just is just in charge when they're in an engagement. That's really the only reason that the captain is in charge. So yeah, that's really fun. And to me, I've been waiting for a long time to do just that stuff. So getting the fight out of this, all that was pretty awesome. Especially they built that whole location. I hadn't seen it, and I showed up to do those scenes, and it was like, oh my God, you guys just built this. And then literally a week later, they took it apart. So they just built all of that for a week, not even for 3 days.
Yeah, that was brutal. Zach throws himself into the stunts incredibly. Doesn't want anyone else doing them.
It's way too fun.
Yeah. You go first this time?
Yeah, you get to see Max, the season 1, she's just in a horrible, horrible position, and there's awful things have been happening to her, and she's been beaten, and season 2 is sort of a time for her to grow. I think fans will be really happy, at least in the beginning, seeing her kind of get back on her feet in a really much more solid kind of way. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. And I'll say it's hard to tease. Was that a tease? Was that a tease?
Yeah. For Silver, it's really, it's a lot of fun stuff for Silver in season 2, and it's really the beginning of this world drawing him in. In season 1, he's just trying to get out of there. He's trying to get his hand for the gold and head off into the sunset, and it's about understanding what this world could offer him, but also understanding what he could offer this world and who he could be that he could never be anywhere else. And it's a lot about him realizing his own potential, and obviously the beginnings of him going from an outsider into actually slowly becoming one of the pirates.
So when you talk to the producers, do you have any input in your characters and say, I would like Silver to do this, I would like her to do that, or maybe you said, okay, I'm on your hands, just do whatever you want with me?
While we have absolute trust in them, and their word is final, they've been fantastically open to our input, and I think because we are all, everyone working on the show are big fans of the show, so we just get together when we can, and it just becomes like us talking about what if this and what if that, and wouldn't that be great, and we can't help but let our imaginations run wild. So when we sit down with them, like, I was thinking this and that, I think it's been actually really surprising how much of that. It's so great to suddenly get a script. You go, that's the bit we talked about that, and that was my idea. And then also on set, there's a lot of freedom as well. I mean, once the scripts are set, and because they're so dense and so well written, you really stick with them as much as you can. But they're very open to our input. That was a long way of saying yes. They're very open.
Yeah, no, I feel very much the same way, and I do. I put an immense amount of faith in them. But it's nice to be able to go like, what does this mean? I'm not really understanding this. We have the most approachable group of writers and showrunner ever. Like, they just are willing to talk and discuss and be a little bit malleable with things. So it's never scary to go and speak to them. They're incredibly open with us. So it's good, yeah.
I think in season 1, I know Sylvia's just worried about if anyone. He doesn't want anyone to kill him, really. So he's worried about if anyone likes him, and there's definitely a beginning of him getting his own power in this world. The very beginning of that in season 2.
Yeah, for a viewer watching, and reading the difference between season 1 and season 2 for Silver to me is like, he's this guy that's just like so bloody annoying, and then all of a sudden there's something about him that you're like, you want to listen to what he's saying all of a sudden, and that's a really cool shift.
Yeah, there's a bit. I'm loving the journey, but both of them as well. Like you do. Yeah, I said I only saw the first episode of season 2 last night, and already in that you feel the characters have come a long way. And I think that's the biggest. You feel everyone's got an arc in season 2, and some of them almost unrecognisable from the end of season 2 to the beginning of season 1, which is just so much fun to see. The Flint Silver relationship, is a big focus of season 2, and it's really complex because from the end of season 1 they're kind of stuck together now, and that's not out of choice, but at the same time. I think the similarities between them are what makes them great partners but terrible partners, and it's such a fun double act. Flint is so serious, Silver's not, at some points it's a real team up, and at other points it's two people who are just ready to kill each other.
It's like so intense and so funny at the same time. Reading it, at least.
It's no, it is. It's really really fun.